Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Brickologist Animation Show, where I, Jim, or Brickologist as many of you know me, often tackle various topics to do with my shows such as the new Avengers saga, Sonic the Hedgehog TLSMS, some of my smaller individual films, often parodies, my friends' films, what's going on in my life, and a whole lot more. So today we will be tackling the upcoming new Avengers 5, Enter the Void, which, follows the climax of the new Avengers series to ultimately wrap up, this what has been this phenomenal, year of the new Avengers saga. And we'll be getting into that today, with all the juicy details, But yes, just all I say now is for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Well, lads, we always got to start, and say this, how long's this season been going on for now in the new Avengers saga? And it's going on a lot longer than many of you would think. You know, I think the obvious answer would be, let's say, since December last year to a lot of you for when this season started. But no, actually, this season technically started nearly more than a year and a half ago. Yeah, in February 2025. And that started with Daredevil, Just to Serve with a Sense of Youth. Now, I'm not sure if many of you would know that film, lads. And for those who do know that film, it's not great, to be honest. It was a it was a fine it was a fine film overall. It was a decent experiment for me, but plot wise, it wasn't that strong. And to be fair, now it was one of the weaker films, and I just thought it would ride the wave of Daredevil Born Again, but it clearly didn't. So yeah, that's how people forget that Daredevil was technically what started, this season of the show. But nah, I don't blame a lot of people for remembering it. Particularly those who haven't watched it, but just even in general for those who do, why they don't. But yes, that was then followed by the crossover last year, which premieres in August. I think we're actually coming up to the anniversary of that premiere. I think it's either the 16th or the 20th of August. But yeah, it's been nearly a year since the crossover, which followed the new Avengers, in the crossover with the Sonic the Hedgehog universe characters. And as they battle Kang and his minion Nine. And that's kind of served as a decent break, for both Sonic TLSMS and the new Avengers saga. But then, we went further on, because in September last year, or not September, even August, actually, I started the Wolverine show, which, that was my most critically acclaimed and, successful series before this season the new Avengers came along. And then once that finished in November, I made my film for the amateur animated productions, Shang-Chi with K-pop Demon Hunters, Shang-Chi Huntrix and Shang-Chi, the Great Waffle Caper, and like that, because that is Shang-Chi, and that's technically a new Avengers film. And then, there's been this season of New Avengers, which started in December and has been ongoing since then. Now, if I could have, lads, I hope you know that I would have wrapped this up way sooner, because I think I've dragged it out a little, to be honest, and it's been poor enough for me. But yeah, other than my own production of the series, it has been an absolutely phenomenal show to work on, because of the voice acting, the animation, and the fact it's been my most critically successful, commercially successful, and fanatically successful show that there's ever been on my channel, more so than, the big success stories which are assigned to SMS season 2 when the Wolverine show last year. So ultimately, I'm quite happy, lads. And I believe that episode 10, it all burns asunder, rounded out the series on a perfect place. And now that gets us into our big talking point today, the new Avengers 4 or new Avengers 5, Enter the Void. Now, so for those, I suppose I should give a bit of a plot synopsis, and this will be a bit of a spoiler alert for any of you who haven't watched the new Avengers saga and its episodes. So we open after it all burns asunder, and I'm not sure many of you will know, but tragically, Bucky Barnes had his life taken by Robert Reynolds, and this revelation not only causes great grief for the characters, but in episode 10 of the saga as well, it also causes Robert to transform into the void, from all the guilt and all the rage built inside him. And now what happened, where we start off in New Avengers 4, the gang are grieving Bucky, obviously, there's a funeral and all, but, they can't grieve for too long because not only is Robert going to destroy the world, but the monster who masterminded this whole situation, Dr. Egghead, has to be found as well and stopped before he can enact any other evil he has planned. Now, thankfully, the new Avengers team is able to rally together, into two separate divisions, one led by Iron Man and Captain America, and another led by Shang-Chi to stop the Void and Egghead respectively. And now along the way, there will be challenges and struggles. However, there is also there's a few things which I haven't said, which will be a major player in these two teams saving the day. Now, that's kind of a brief plot synopsis. So, it opens obviously on the new Avengers, having to face the grief of Bucky, dying, but then rallying together, with each other to, stop the Void, with the bomb squad who were led by Tony and Sam, and then the rest of the new Avengers who are led by Shang-Chi, obviously, who are going to go after Egghead. But yes, that's kind of the brief synopsis, and what happens from there. Then, I think you guys be face if you guys were smart enough to probably figure out what happens as the story goes on. But yes, I will admit that when it comes to that plot synopsis there, I'm trying to be as careful as I can because there's a few details I wouldn't exactly want to give away now because well, there's a new character in this film, and I'm not talking Nova or Miss Marvel, and I can actually say that Miss Marvel is actually going to be in this film, when I say Miss Marvel, I mean Kamala Khan, obviously. Now I don't mean Carol Danvers, but yes, so that's not exactly the surprise. I don't think you guys see that as a surprise anyway. But there is one character who who would be a surprise to you. I say, for those who won't see her coming. But yeah, she's if I'm to kind of give you guys a hint as to this character is. I think her name would have been trending social media recently enough, when it comes to Marvel. A certain Marvel films out, a certain actress is playing her. Figure it out from there, then yourselves. But anyway, that's kind of my secret, it is probably not so secret because, like I said, if you're smart enough, you will figure out who I'm talking about. But I can I can say that I found a voice actor for her as well, and the voice actor has been an absolute pleasure to work with. She was recommended by a longtime voice actor on the channel now, CC Clark, who first started on the Wolverine show actually. But yeah, it was a fantastic recommendation because I've gotten a sample of her lines as the new character, and they're absolutely brilliant. So I can't falter her any bit, and I'm very excited to see how you guys react to this character's role in the Avengers 5 because let me tell you, she plays a big part on Tony and Sam's team in stopping the Void from enacting evil. But yes, I mean, that's kind of the plot synopsis overall, like with the spoiler characters, and the only other thing I'd say is that there's going to be two post credit scenes in this film as well, So, like New Avengers War before it, if I'm correct, or yeah, I do believe I'm correct with that one now, to be fair, that there's going to be two post credit scenes like New Avengers 4, which I think maybe. I don't know. Have I ever had any other films, to have a post credit scene like that? I don't. Yeah, like the Wolverine show didn't have a post credit scene, but A Battle for the Ages certainly had two post credit scenes, and yeah, that's all I could say. Now, as for release details, I like I'm very I feel a bit bummed out, lads. That like I'm a bit uncertain as to when it is going to release exactly. Like idealistically, lads, if it all had gone according to plan, it'll be releasing August this year because this is really celebrating 5 years of the new Avengers saga, which I forgot to mention that as well. It's so ironic that New Avengers 5 is coming out the years New Avengers is actually 5 years old, which is absolutely great, like that I've been doing this series so long. But like yeah, idealistically I would have had it out by August, but like because of how sloppy I've been, like it's been hard to get animation and get going into the film properly. Now, thankfully, to some hard, consistent work over the last few nights, I'd say I've animated roughly a third of the film. So yes, it's not that far. Like it's probably not going to be that far away, But like between my exam study this year, like I I wouldn't be certain, but I'd be optimistic that I'd be aiming for an October release, like preferably before the October midterm break, but realistically it might be the October break as well. So yeah, we'll just see what happens there then, and yeah, we'll just let the rest work itself out, lads, and I can't complain. Then all I can do is just have faith in above that I can you work to the best of my ability for for film. Well, let me just like if I could just get the animation done kind of around the end of this month, start of September, that'll be a great place to be. And yeah, like I will definitely try and make a trailer as well, because like I want to, you know, I don't want to just put the film out like without any promotion, and I've made a few film posters as well, so I think it'd be the same for the for the promotion campaign to go to waste. Like I'll make sure to I'll make sure I have a few podcasts as well, to promote, a few interviews. Obviously, there might be one or two voice actors who I'd be interested in interviewing before the film. But yes, I mean, that's kind of the release, this like I better actually get animating now after after I finish this episode of the podcast. But like, yeah, I suppose that's kind of east, with at least regards to the release of the film, I couldn't really say much else other than I'm talking about like this for now anyway, other than the stars of the film, I suppose. So like who'd be the main stars of this film now? Obviously myself, playing most of the main characters, like sure. Then like a few regular names, like my sister Chicken, my brother Chuck, the Real Hamburger, of course, and a few of the mainstays when it comes to the new Avengers saga this season. So that's including Cosmic Voice, Cashley, Oliver Sparkle, and you know a few minor roles, including CC Clark and Brick Street Boy. But yeah, like they're kind of the voice actors in the film. Like, obviously, I've a new voice actor for that new character who I haven't spoiled anything about, and I've praised her already. But yeah, I won't reveal who she is, because maybe I might do an interview with her, but that depends on her, so I'll have to see. But I mean, other than that, lads, I don't think I have too much to talk about with this film. So that's I suppose that's all I want to say, lads, today. That you know, just have a brief discussion about the plot synopsis for the film, the release date, the release window, if it's possible for me to release by October, and just a brief go over the stars over this, like just I suppose you could say fairly typical, with a few new names thrown in here or there, but as I suppose that's it, lads, because there's I'm still hiding a lot, so I need to wait a bit, more to cover even more with the film. But anyway, for now, lads, I just like to thank you guys for watching another episode of the Brickologist Animation Show. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed my opinion and discussion. And all I'll say is, like I said, thank you for watching the Brickologist Animation Show. Yo, thank you, lads. Have a good day.